IPMGAMER. Today we're gonna have make some sandwiches, but these are gonna be pulled pork sandwiches, and I've never actually made these before. I've had pulled pork sandwiches like crazy at restaurants and whatnot, but I've never actually made them myself. So this is gonna be the first time. So let's see how it goes. These are just like a fillet strip of pork loin that's boneless. So in here, just some onions. So I'm gonna just smack her in there, and then put some onions on top. Now, I actually had to call my wife and ask her how to make this properly. I was wanting to put the meat in tin foil with barbecue sauce in with the meat. But she's like, no, don't do that. Cook it first. Then, when about 5 to 10 minutes before it's cooked, put the meat in, or put the sauce, the barbecue sauce in, and then put the meat back in the oven for 5 to 10 minutes or however long. So that's that. Pretty simple. It's just meat and onions. Onions are there for flavor, obviously. When the onions cook, you can add them in with the meat. And when it's cooked, what I do, or how I was always known to do, is just take a fork when it's cooked and just scrape the meat off, so it's in little 1.5 inch, 2 inch strips. And then with the barbecue sauce, you just throw it on the bread, good to go. Now, I don't even know, sure, let's see how that goes. Really supposed to let it preheat. Yeah, I'll let it preheat, I don't know. But always the whole point of the show is simple ingredients, simple food, and just to make a meal. As right now, I'm living with roommates, and we don't have kids running around here, so big meals, we don't need that. This is gonna feed both my roommates, and it's gonna hopefully taste good the way it's supposed to come out. It's supposed to be good, but hey, you never know. So when we come back, we'll have it partially cooked. Then we'll add the sauce, and then stick it back in the oven, and then tray it up. All right, so there's 10 minutes left on the timer. We're gonna pull it out, and then I'm gonna strip the meat off of it, put the sauce on, and put it back in for 10 minutes. So when that's ready, it'll be ready to be trayed up. It'll be fully cooked. And I did a couple more things. I actually called my wife back and asked her, okay, I put it in for 425 for 25 minutes. Is that good? She's like, no, 350 for 40 minutes. So that's what I did. And also I added half a cup of water in with the meat because there's not a lot of fat on it, and it'll just stick to the bowl, right? So that would be good. So we're gonna pull that out. And over here. All right. So, like I said. Fork. Interesting. Well, let's just oh, that sucks. Okay. here's what we're gonna do. We are just going to cut it into strips because obviously something went wrong. So we can still make somewhat pulled pork sandwiches. We just got to make sure that they're nice thin strips. Maybe kind of cut them down to size. You know, in times like this, when you're actually cooking food made in most restaurants, it would probably be good to have some kind of culinary skills where you're actually educated on how to cook things properly. I mean, I know if I had a slow cooker and I did it that way, it would just fall apart in your fingers. But I don't have a slow cooker, and that's okay. We're gonna do it this way. So, in the comments, if you're watching this and you're like, well, okay, yeah, you big doorknob. This is how we're supposed to cook it, and this is how you're supposed to pull it apart and all that. And I would greatly appreciate your tips, your advice, because obviously this is a bit of a disaster. But this is how we're gonna do it, and I'll try to pull it apart, make it look somewhat like a pulled pork sandwich. So I'm gonna cut, and then when I got all this ready to go, I'll pull it back out of the oven. We'll tray it up, and we'll see how Aaron and John think about it. Cut it.